Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike, and I'm coming at you with Haslab Unicron update number 4. This makes my 5th Haslab Unicron video, and yes, I specifically held off for a couple of weeks to make another video because we're entering into the last week. We're not there yet. We're almost there. To the last week of the Haslab Unicron backing or funding stage. And I gotta tell you, I've got an action-packed video full of information. I've got some inside information about Zeta, which, by the way, if you're waiting for Zeta, don't. Anyway, moving into this, I went into the Haslab site to check on this, and I wanted to see the number of backers, because I didn't talk about numbers because I was fully confident that it's going to get back no matter what, but I wanted to check numbers before this, and I saw they had a video. I saw that Haslab puts out a video with Q&A answers, and I'm going to go through that with you, answer by answer. I'm going to dissect that with you, because I feel kind of stupid that I didn't ask any questions, but they answered almost all of my questions. So we're going to get into that. But before that, I'm going to tell you why I am 100% sure this is getting backed. First off, this is what Transformers fans have asked for. This is what we want. Okay, well, it hasn't hit 3,000 yet. Or maybe by the time I actually do all the work with this video and post it, it barely hits 3,000. So we'll call it 3,000. Just for fun. We need 8,000. Okay. I'm still gonna hit that, no matter what. There are 12 different third-party vendors selling this thing. Those orders won't hit till the last 3 days. And maybe the very last day. Now, if you're waiting for the last day for this thing to back, it may not back until 5 minutes before it's time to back, because that's when the other retailer's going to place their order. BBTS, TF Source, Chosen Prime, Takara Tomy Mall. And I have to tell you, I'm just listing stuff off the top of my head. I've read so many sites, some I've never heard of. And why is it important that I've read sites that are backing this that I've never heard of before? Because they are international sites that do not favor me to order from them. So I don't order from them. So they're new to me. But they're other people's everyday ordering option. That's what makes it important. This thing's opened up. If you're international, you're getting this thing. You can get this through 12 different places international than just Haslab. So they learned that from the barge, and I really commend them. Next reason it's getting back, it's too big to fail. It's too big to fail, and you've never heard me say it's not going to back. So what if it doesn't back? If it doesn't back, I guess Transformer fans should just never ever worry about a Haslab popping up, ever saying anything about a Transformer item. Because this is the ungiven item that we've always wanted. What else would there be? Another Optimus Prime? No. This is the unattainable figure that we cannot get at retail. And I'm going to tell you right now, every single Titan seems to go to clearance or $40. Hasbro does not want to damage their partnerships more than they already have with their Titans line. I love Titans, and this is awesome. They've damaged that relationships that most retailers, including Walmart, don't carry them in the store anymore. Have you not noticed that? This will never make it into a Walmart, Target, whatever. It won't never make it to an Aldi's. That's for sure. And they're never going to let it make it to an Aldi's. They'd rather not make it than let it make it to Aldi's. The other thing I want to talk about is the fact that Star Wars doesn't see big vehicles anymore. They stopped that. It's been, what, 5 years since we've seen a big vehicle? The biggest vehicle we've seen is a smaller version of a Millennium Falcon, smaller than G1, or maybe the same size as the vintage Millennium Falcon. And that thing was ridiculously priced. That was priced the same as the Legacy Falcon. And it's what, half the size and half the features, and it basically it sucks. And it got clearanced out. These things do not make it. They try to make it AT-AT. That's the size of this vintage, but it has some features. It doesn't make it. Hasbro knows this is the only platform to sell these things. If you want a Unicron that's like this, that's big and it's plentiful, you're not going to get one somewhere else. This is your last chance to get this Unicron. If you do not back this, well, hold on a second. You have a second chance, because I'll sell you my extra one for like $2,500. That's what's going to happen. People like me are the only way you're going to get one. People like me that care enough to back this thing because I know it's awesome. And all the trash talk on this thing, that's fine. Trash talk it all you want. You're going to want this thing when it comes out. If you can't afford this thing, if it's going to cause you financial turmoil in your family, and this thing costs almost $600, over $600. So if that's your case, don't wreck yourself financially. Lastly, they're going to put their resources towards other franchises. By the way, there's one of the 40 Hasbro franchises they could do, 8 that they were thinking of initially, but like 40 they could do. But they never even talked about doing a flag. But that's a big topic of discussion. Doing a G.I. Joe flag. There's so many other things they could do. They could just completely ignore Transformers for this if the Transformers community just doesn't care about Haslab. Doesn't care about big projects getting made. Yeah, take that money and just go buy a combiner that's smaller and less impressive on a shelf. You've got a little over a week to decide. And if you wait 9 days, you're all going to be out of this. And I got 2. And my 2 will get made no matter what. I feel like it's a Titanium hanger guarantee. So anyway, let's get in the Q&A. They were talking about all the questions in the Q&A. And the first thing was the payment plan. And it sounds to me like they've already started on the route with no payment plan, and it's not fair to those of us who've already backed it to not be part of a payment plan, but almost like they're thinking future projects are going to figure out a way to do a payment. That sounds good to me. I mean, I think that's a great idea. The next thing they discussed was no lights and sound. And I think that was really kind of a boring answer that, oh, we tried to make it look as good as we could. Okay. But it would cost them literally a couple bucks to put in a couple of lights and a couple of sounds and a push button. It's not like they already have a section with the jaw moving that cannot transform. It's a giant square. They could have integrated into that a few electronics. It would have not been that hard. It would not have cost that much. And it would have given a lot more fans something they want. Because when you have this big of a display, you want to go push a button and make it do something. But, oh, whatever. Or when you move the jaws, make it do something. Next, they went into talking about colors. They said that the colors and the materials are not going to change much. They think they got them just right. Then they showed their own segments of the movie, and it doesn't match the movie. I get comments daily about the Unicron. One of my 4 videos I put out already gives me a comment daily. And the biggest complaint by far is that the colors are not orange enough. It's too yellow and not orange enough. And I kind of said, you're nitpicking. Is kind of what's going on in my mind. But when they addressed this, and I looked at their way they addressed it, I realized the fans are right. This thing is too yellow. The animation shows it way more orange. And I really think that they're at a stage they can fix that. They can make that change. And they could give it a little bit of a clear coat to be a little bit gleamier. So there's a lot more things. The abdomen, needing to be translucent. So the next question was, how long did it take to develop this thing? And they said that they started working on it in January of 17, which is actually shortly before they revealed the barge. So the barge probably had a good 6-month lead on it. And I gotta say that there's a lot of discussion about when the barge was announced. Everybody said, what if they made a Unicron? That was the very first comment and was commented thousands of times. And they actually had information that they were thinking about this back then. But they didn't want to reveal it because it didn't have a prototype. They didn't have everything figured out. It was just some of these line drawings. So I understand they didn't reveal it then, and that's a good point. That's a good reason to not reveal it right then and there, because these line drawings would not have made me want to back the thing. So the next question was about how many finger joints. They said 6 finger joints. I don't think there's 6 joints in each finger, but 2 on the thumb and then 4 per finger, I guess. What I want to point out with this is how beautiful that this hand looks. It's painted with a metallic silver. It just looks awesome. This actually looks masterpiece. And lots of people say, oh, I don't want it because it's only Chug and not Masterpiece. Well, I think it's a blend of the two, by the way. So the next question was, how many points of articulation does it have? It has 50 points of articulation. But what do we have? We got a removable head, removable face. That's not counted. But the head moves real well. You have a waist swivel, which, by the way, even some Masterpiece Jeff Firestone. And then we have ankle tilts, which is becoming just the norm for any Transformer nowadays. And on top of that, the arms and legs and knees and hips and thighs and all that are going to work to give you dynamic poses. Now, it has a stand, and it's the same stand for either the robot mode or the planet mode. And the stand itself is there to help you as a third hand when transforming this thing. And by the way, this big of a bot needs assistance when transforming. And I like that. I think it's a good idea. But it's not necessary to stand. Once you're done transforming it, you can pull the stand out and it'll stand on its own just fine. It'll have the ratchets, it'll have the strength, it'll have the tension that it needs to stand on its own. It'll have what it needs to pose on its own. A lot of people worry about that. So another question was, will it be compatible with any features from any other Siege figures or whatever? And there's 5mm ports for weapons, which is standard. And then 3mm ports, which I guess is what the blast effects need. And that makes sense, because that's usually the tip of a weapon. So you can have blast effects look like he's taking hits in 5-6 different places. And he could add more arsenal to himself, which I would not do. I would just make him look like he's getting hit up and a bunch of Dinobots on him and stuff like that. But make his eyes look broken. That's how I display it. So my biggest question would be, what additions would you have to this? And that's kind of the extras. They said at the end, going into the last week, we have some extras or additions. Not meaning more features they'll talk about. Extra throw-in items that I keep saying we're going to have. But what will it be? Would it be like a Kranix or Kranix, whatever? The guy who said that he's the last survivor of Glibden and of course got executed. Would we see Marvelous? Look, it's Unicron! Which, by the way, how did they know about Unicron but nobody else in the universe did? Would we get a Moonbase 1 or a Quintesson ship or some other moon to be eaten? Who knows? Would we get a transforming moon that if eaten collapses down? Who knows? There's a lot of crazy stuff they could include that would blow your mind. And in fact, I think the inclusion pieces are usually worth almost as much as the figure. That's alright. I told you I was going to talk about Zeta Unicrons. I've got some information. The thing is going to be 46 centimeters tall. I have a reliable source that says it's going to be 46 centimeters, which is a little bit bigger than 18 inches. And it is going to be too small. By the way, the speculation based on the pictures, yeah, he's too small. If you're going to get something about 9 inches smaller than the Haslab, now, even if it's like $100 or $79 or something, I'll get one just to review it, just to have it, just to put it next to my Armada, or whatever. But it would not be a Haslab killer like a lot of people thought it would. So anyway, I want a bunch of feedback on this video. I want to hear what you are going to do. What do you think? Are you going to buy this thing? Are you going to back this thing? Have you already backed it? Do you want it but you can't afford it? You know what? If you can't afford this thing, if it's going to cause you financial turmoil in your family, and this thing costs almost $600, over $600. So if that's your case, don't wreck yourself financially. Don't feel bad. Enjoy watching all of the many YouTubers that are going to show it. Enjoy. In your community, someone has to get one. You could go see it in person if you're friends with it. There's other ways to enjoy this. Don't kill yourself financially. But if you can afford it and you can back it, this is time to get in. Unless you want to pay over $2,000 in 2021. Like, subscribe. Let your hanger out.